I think the New York Knicks are out of shape. If you look at this team, you look up and down this lineup, you look up and down the roster, what I think the New York Knicks did was they decided to get in shape during the season.
Suck.
Everything that happened on the court, we blame the officials. And that was disappointing to see.
Good evening and welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. I'm Michelle Swoops and Jalen Brunson's in a boot. Let's go to the videotape. Let's go!
It's New York Minute Sports.
What's going on, Pat? We got the Yankees, Knicks. We got a bunch of New York stuff going on, but the biggest story in New York today is Jalen Brunson's in a boot. And I'm in a glass case of emotion. Pat, how are you?
Not feeling too good about it. Did they say what it was? I
They're
didn't see
looking
that.
at 4 to 6 weeks of being out of the lineup.
Knicks Jalen Brunson left MSG in a walking boot and crutches tonight after. Well, you can also see the knee bow outward, a clear varus load between the femur and tibia. That's important because a varus collapse loads the entire lateral knee complex, not just the ankle. Fortunately, after he went down, he was able to immediately stand up and bear weight on that injured side. Sometimes, if there's a fracture, the athlete is unable to load that joint and usually can't walk off on their own power.
Last year when he did this to himself, he was out for like fucking 12 or 15 games.
Also, if you remember in the second game of the season against the Boston Celtics, he went down, he tried to do a crossover, and he grabbed his shin. He's been doing that a lot. It looks like a high ankle sprain because it's close to the knee. Now, let's get down to last night's game first before we start talking about Jalen Brunson's injury, because God knows that we're going to be talking about that for the next month. But let's get down to the Orlando Magic against the New York Knicks in MSG last night. The Knicks lost 124 to 107 way before Jalen Brunson was even in a boot, way before he got hurt. The New York Knicks came out flat again in back-to-back games. Pat, what's going on with this team in back-to-back games?
You know, we saw that a couple times. It's not uncommon in basketball, obviously, to see that. But really, it's the same thing that happened the last time they had back-to-back games, right? So they have back-to-back games. The first game, they come out hot. They're firing. That second game, slow. Remember we were watching that other game? And it was they were short on every shot. It looked like their legs weren't under them. Maybe it is the conditioning part. Maybe they need to get better at that.
These back-to-backs, they remind me of the Yankees on a travel day. When the Yankees would travel during the regular season, they'd always lose the first game. And I'm like, Knicks, what the fuck? Like, is Brunson hanging out with Judge too much? He's like, yo, listen, that whole first game nonsense, you fuck that noise.
What stuck with me was that they weren't hitting any of their threes, right? So, like, you're looking at a team that the night before was banging threes, and they come in the next night and they're not hitting any threes.
I think it's more insidious than that. I think the New York Knicks are out of shape. If you look at this team, you look up and down this lineup, you look up and down the roster, what I think the New York Knicks did was they decided to get in shape during the season. And that's why you're seeing, I'm not saying Jalen Brunson is out of shape. He's the one guy that chugs along and seems that he's in shape. Whether it's Karl Anthony Towns, whether it's OG, I don't know. Back-to-back games, and you know what? It's like they come out flat. They don't play the first quarter. Last night, they had 14 to 15 points in the first quarter. They couldn't get Karl Anthony Towns the ball in the beginning of the game. Listen, the New York Knicks have a recipe of winning games right now. It's feed Karl Anthony Towns the ball in the first 8 minutes of the game. Get your big man established. Get him going. Get him into the rhythm of the game. They did not do that last night. Every time Jalen Brunson has the first 8 points of the New York Knicks team, that's not a good thing. That means they're Jalen Brunson-centric, and they've been running the offense through him, and it's been stalling.
I guess we need to clarify. What do you mean when running the offense through Brunson?
When Jalen Brunson is getting the ball way too much and not distributing, not the 3 passes, they're coming down the court with 3 minutes left in the first quarter, and they're running ISO ball. The offense seizes up, and they all stand around and watch Jalen Brunson operate. Nobody goes off a dribble. They don't do a pick and roll with Cat. The only one he does a pick and roll with is Mitchell Robinson. So the point I'm trying to make is Jalen Brunson being out might be a blessing in disguise for the New York Knicks. So they don't have that crutch of Jalen Brunson, no pun intended, because he's in a boot and a crutch right now. But they won't have that crutch. It's kind of like Judge with the Yankees. When he goes down, they got to learn how to win without this guy. And now,
Sure.
and now my question to you is, Pat, now with Jalen Brunson being down, who do you think is the mainstay? Who's running the offense? Who's it going through?
I mean, it's got to be Deuce, right? I mean, Deuce has got to be bringing the ball up. The strength that the Knicks had all these past games that they were winning was that they were spreading the floor and they were moving the ball. And the ball was going to people. They're getting 4 or 5 passes. And when that's happening, I mean, we've talked about this before. Patty's white whale. I hate it when they come down there and just fire a 3. There is no reason for them to be coming down and just chucking up 3s.
Yeah, because that's, you know what, when they do come down the floor and they do chuck up 3s, that's how you start getting fatigued. And that's why they even might look out of shape doing that. But I'll tell you this, from an outside perspective, any team that comes in here with a backbone, Pat, just runs roughshod all over these guys. These guys are not a tough grit team. They're a finesse team. And I don't like it. I think that the offense is going to run through Big Zesty. It's going to be Karl Anthony Towns' team until Jalen Brunson gets back because
Absolutely.
he's a 1A, 1B. So what we need to do now, it's simple, guys. I really think this is going to be a blessing in disguise. Let Jalen rest for 4 to 6 weeks. We know he's going to come back. He's going to produce. He's going to be one of the best players. In the rest of these knuckleheads need to learn how to live life without the crutch of Jalen Brunson. Karl Anthony Towns, start establishing yourself in the beginning of the game. First 8 minutes is cat time, baby. Feed the paint. Let him hit a 3. He's already involved in the game. Now start spreading the ball to OG. And by the way, I'm an OG fanboy, but I'm really starting to get tired of this. Looks like you're in a sleepwalk mode. You score 31 one night and you score 8 the next night. One night you're plus 16 and the next night you're minus 14. Make up your mind, OG.
That's a great comparison.
And the Knicks fall to 7-1 at MSG this year. But dude, what I'm most worried about is I look at this New York Knicks team. They're kind of soft as puppy shit. I'm talking about the bad part. Listen, the New York Knicks have the second best offense in the league. There's a lot of good, positive things to talk about. But
Sure.
we can sit here and we can blow smoke up the Knicks' ass, but we got to talk about what's wrong with this team, okay? And what's wrong with this team is they're not listening to Mike Brown, and they're getting away from the system. You can see what's going on. When they listen to Mike Brown, they have 40 points in the first quarter for 4 straight games. They set a franchise record for scoring 130-plus points in 4 straight games. First time it's done in franchise history. First time they've done 40-plus points in the first quarter in 4 times in a row since 1969. So that when they listen to Mike Brown, they're doing some epic shit. But, Pat, I want to go to the Mike Brown videotape right here because last night all I heard was the New York Knicks were complaining about the penalties, and fouls coming from the refs last night. Listen, man, I always say in sports, there's 11 different things you can do before you can start blaming the outcome of the game on fouls. There is 100 different steps you can do it. Will the refs affect the game with foul calls? Absolutely. But there is so much. How about make your shots last night, Knicks?
100%. But there was some shit fouls called by the ref.
There's going to be shit fouls.
I mean, the shit fouls went both ways.
Exactly, yeah. If you put a microphone in front of an Orlando Magic player's face today, he'd tell you 4 calls that he disliked and that they could have replayed. But Mike Brown had something to say about the New York Knicks being a little chirpy because Karl Anthony Towns. Dude, I think they just might be the Yankees who play round ball. All they do
It's this.
It's the meme. Yeah, it's the black kid the black kid meme. He's like this all the time. But if you notice, Hart, Cat, Brunson, they all do the same thing. And the Yankees do the same exact thing. Hart is Jazz Chisholm. Brunson is Judge because Brunson just rolls his eyes and doesn't say anything. So I think maybe they clone the Yankees and now they play round ball rock in MSG. Let's go to Mike Brown real quick because the coffee's kicking in. Here we go. Quick because the coffee's kicking in. Here we go.
Everything that happened on the court, we blame the officials. And that was disappointing to see because we were the culprits of a lot of stuff that happened out on the floor. 6 of their first 8 points came from the free throw line, and we fouled them.
Stop this for a second. Stop for a
I
second.
couldn't.
So this, I love to see this.
Yeah.
Right. I love to see this.
Yeah.
I hate to see what we saw last night, but I love to see
Dude,
this out of Mike Brown.
yeah.
He's owning what's wrong.
Yeah.
And he's saying, you know what's wrong? This is what's wrong. And you guys got to shape up and, figure it out. And he's right.
Stop
He's
blaming
100% right.
the refs.
Yeah.
Stop with the excuses. And
Yep.
this is why Mike Brown is the right guy for the job. He's an updated Tom Thibodeau, a player's coach who will call his team out. It's exactly what their soft bullshit chirping at the refs, just like the Yankees do. Guess what? That doesn't get you more calls. Bitching to the refs does not get you more calls. Is it just a coincidence that Karl Anthony Towns has 4 fucking fouls with 3 minutes into the third? Every single game, it seems like, because he's bitching at the refs. And they're like, you know what? I don't really kind of like this guy. And we're going to call everything on Big Cat tonight. But you know what? Does Brown coach baseball? Because I would love this accountability for my baseball team. Let's see what else Mike Brown had to say.
Didn't even use a challenge because we were fouling. And if one of our keys is to play physical without fouling, but the first 6 points or first 3 or 4 possessions.
Well, there you go. He talked about it, Mike Brown, in the first press conference of the year because they played so well against Cleveland. He was talking about controlled chaos on defense. Be aggressive, but not over the line. And this is when the New York Knicks, this is when they're getting lazy on defense, man. I'm telling you.
Well,
listen, everyone likes to blow smoke up the Knicks' ass. You got a Detroit team that was a big problem for us in the playoffs last year. They are the best team in the East, and they look like no joke. The New York Knicks need to toughen up ASAP.
100%. And, I mean, you look at what the big problem was last night, and this was something I wanted to touch on you with today, is they got ate up. The defense from the Magic was, I mean, you could see the Knicks didn't know what to do when they got the ball. Yeah. It was almost like at the beginning of the game, it was like they had no idea what was supposed to happen. And they had 6 or 7 turnovers in the first quarter.
Orlando had 8 turnovers in the first quarter, and the Knicks were still struggling because you know what? Dude, even they were not hitting shots. They weren't playing defense, and Brunson was the only one that showed up last night.
You're right. But, I mean, the problem is he really didn't even show up last night. His floater was off. He was missing jump shots. This is what we talked about the last time, too. The open shots. When they did get an open shot, they're throwing it off the back of the rim. And it's, that this is where I think the Knicks are going to have to improve. And they can. They have the talent base on the team, and they got the coach for it. They got to move the ball, and they have to look for better shots.
Yep.
That is, I mean, and when they get the good shot, they got to make it. You watch these good teams, and when some of these guys get the ball, think about like a Curry or like, anybody on that level. Those guys get the ball and they're open, that's going in. And 90% of the time it's going in when they got a guy in their face.
Curry last night was 15 of 16 from the floor for 46 points against the San Antonio Spurs last night.
There you go.
Dude, that's the problem. Listen,
I didn't even know that. And I told and that's think about that.
Curries don't fall off trees, obviously. But
of course.
The New York Knicks need a lights out 3-point shooter, man. They're not a good shooting team.
They are sometimes, though. I got to disagree. They are sometimes.
You know,
They're not. You're like
you know
the
a
night
good shooting
before.
team when you see one. The Heat are a good shooting team. The New York Knicks choose when they want to be a good shooting team. Sometimes they couldn't fucking hit water if they fell off a boat. That's why I think this 134 points is all fool's gold right now. I don't think it's empty calories because the New York Knicks, I see them play every single night. There's something up. They're stuck between this early 90s physical bully ball that they can't play because they're soft as puppy shit.
But
And then they want to
sometimes
be a
they
finesse
do.
team, but they don't have the shooting. They don't have the shooting acumen to be that finesse team. So they're like a tweener.
Sometimes they play that bully ball, Eric. I mean, like we were talking about the other night with Cat. Well, Cat's in some of these games, Cat's in there, he's backing people down, he's
against
throwing
the
his shoulders.
Grizzlies who can't even put their shoes on correctly.
Well,
and then you get a semi-decent team like Orlando, who's maybe the 5th or 6th best team in the East, and they body you. So like the
but they're
Knicks are like
young,
a
too.
big Yabusele.
Yeah, but they're young too. You got to think about it too. You're dealing with a young Magic team. We're coming off. We're in the second game in a row. You know, we said it. There's conditioning issues with the Knicks.
Big time.
I mean, this is where we now have to accept that this is the Knicks' weak point and focus on how does that change throughout the season? Because it's still early in the season. We're only 10 games, 11 games into the season, Eric. It's not, we still have 71 games left, right?
All I know,
So
okay, so you be positive. I'll be negative Nancy today because the Knicks are below 500 on the road. They just got bodied at home in another back-to-back game that they came flat out. Brunson was the only one that showed up last night. Karl Anthony Towns was on a goddamn milk carton. Landry I can't stand watching that guy play basketball. I'm sorry. When you're a minus 14 last night and you're a minus 11 the night prior to that, and you're only good for 3-pointers a game, you need to get a better 3-point shooter. I don't know why McBride isn't ahead of him, head and shoulders. He's this kind of six man, but now since the injury with Brunson, you're going to see Operation Kolek. All the white guys are going to be so happy about that in the crowd. And then McBride is going to come up. I want to see McBride. Okay, enough of this Kolek shit. You know what? He's an okay, decent player. He's scrappy. McBride's the dude. Okay.
Well, we were talking about it last week. Maybe Kolek needs some reps. Maybe this is going to help Kolek develop into that. Because listen, when he's bringing the ball up and the guy can play, man. I mean,
listen, everyone in the league, everyone in the league can play. He needs to get his reps in the G League, not when you're supposed to be going for a chip this year.
Well, he's not going to get it with Brunson hurt. He's going to be up. He's going to be up. He's going to be playing. They're going to need him because they're going to need
the G League.
The
these guys can be on the major league roster and still go back to the G League. So I get what you're saying. It's a blessing in disguise for Kolek, and it's going to get him more time. Also, what this does with injuries, now the blessing in disguise that Leon Rose has gifted the New York Knicks with is a bench. If this was last year or 2 years ago, the New York Knicks would be figgity fucked right now. But what happened was in Leon Rose we trust, he gave us 11 to 12 guys. When injuries do happen, this has happened with the Yankees, and I don't mean to bring them up all the time, but there is direct parallels between the Yankees and the New York Knicks. When these guys actually, somebody goes down like an Aaron Judge or a Brunson, the rest of the team gets better. It's all hands on decks. The Jason Dominguez's, the Koleks of the world. You know what? Those guys can start developing. Maybe Yabusele needs to get more reps, needs to get more time to actually get going this season. So when one guy goes out, especially a Jalen Brunson, it's like somebody gets hurt in a bullpen. It's next man up, and the rotation goes up one spot. So you know what? I am excited to see McBride. I am excited to see Kolek run a more of a conventional point guard where he's passing more than shooting.
Yeah, I think that's, and I think you're right. I think that's going to be something that will help him grow and actually will benefit the team long term, especially when we get into the playoffs. You know, they're going to have to be that team that has the depth that we think they have, right? So we've been talking about, this team's got that depth. okay, well, now that depth has to develop. They do. They have the individual talent, but I do think that there are some issues with them playing into Mike Brown's scheme. And you're right. Some nights they're in, some nights they're out.
Yeah, and that just you know what, man? I don't know if it's a matter between some nights they're just gonna take off. Some nights they're just gonna be like, yo, there's a play-in tournament, bro. Like, just get us to the 9th or 10th seed. The Knicks are made for the playoffs. Also, that's another thing I wanted to say to you. I keep seeing the way that they're constructed. They're not constructed for a regular season. They're kind of constructed for the playoffs, where you get 2 days off in between games, where you can play that physical bully ball, where they have good home field advantage, where they're a quick spurt team. Like, I watched somebody like OKC the other night against. Did you see what they did to the Lakers last night?
Yeah, they're good, man. I mean, they're
They're really fucking good.
yeah,
I think Hartenstein's coming off the bench, and I can't stand watching that guy play for OKC because he should
I
be
know.
wearing a Knicks uniform. And
Yes.
that's another thing I want to bring up to you. This Ariel project with the center from the G League, man, we need another big man on this team.
Yeah.
We need another guy. Mitch does not play enough. Giancarlo Stanton, Mitchell Robinson, the
Yeah,
Giancarlo
when you were
Stanton of the
talking when
New
you were
York
talking
Knicks.
about
Holy shit.
Yankee
I
comparisons
swear to
before,
God, I didn't plan this.
thinking that. I was thinking that when you were talking about the Yankee comparisons before. I was like, oh shit, well, like Mitch is kind of like,
And they're like, you know what? We're bringing him back. He's a solid guy.
But he is.
He is.
He can. I mean,
They
the other
both
night,
are. They're both
against- I mean,
MVPs in half a season.
dude, against the Grizzlies, like, I
Yeah.
mean, with the Nets,
Yeah.
I mean, it was,
I know,
dude,
I know.
it was, I mean,
He's-
but you're playing against a high school team, you're playing against the Nets. So you
He's a
can't-
first team,
yeah.
all defense kind of guy. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is against Rudy Gobert. That was his coming out party this year. When he was playing against Rudy Gobert, he was bodying Rudy Gobert and then still defending New York in the 3. So yeah, Mitchell Robinson, I love it. But this load management injury, they're actually calling it injury management now, by the way.
I know. I saw that.
Did you see that? At least
Yeah,
they're
I
not
saw that.
lying to us anymore, which is nice news.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's a good thing, Pat. The NBA stopped lying to us. But, dude, I look at teams like OKC. I look at teams like the Lakers and the Spurs, and I just like, man, I think the East is just playing for second place. I know it's still early, but the East is just playing for second place this year, man. You're telling me the New York Knicks, if they got into a series with OKC, okay, it would be like getting into the Boston Marathon with a Kenyan runner, and I work in a cubicle 6 days a week.
So right now, yeah, I agree with you. If the playoffs started right now, yes, absolutely. But I think that Mike Brown is going to get these guys into better shape over the course of the season. They're gonna get into better shape. They're going to learn how to play better together. The one thing for me that's going to be very interesting to watch is how do they start to play better against better defenses? Because there's much better defenses in the league than the Magic, and the Magic fucking ate them up last night. I couldn't believe it at the beginning of the game. I just couldn't believe it.
You know what? It seems like, though, any team that D's them up, the Knicks lose to. And in fact,
exactly.
If you want to talk about that first Bulls game, the Bulls played defense, and the Bulls were going for like 6-0. Then they played them in the game at home, the home and home series, and then they played them back at MSG. And it looked like the Bulls ran out their D squad, no pun intended, and put out their B squad and was like, all right, we're omitting this game and we're losing. And that's the reason that they won. So I think it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, man. It's like when a football team goes 6-0 to start the season, and you're like, yo, they're not that guy, you know? And then you turn around, they're 6-6. So I do hit the panic button. I am a Yankee fan at heart, and I approach the basketball season sometimes with that approach, but this could get ugly fast with Jalen Brunson being down. The rest of these guys better step the fuck up. They lost 124 to 107 last night, and that score is not indicative of how much Orlando beat the Knicks over the head last night.
You're right. But it's also, what it really does show is that when the Knicks are having a bad shooting night, I mean, it's their shooting last night was just atrocious. I
Well,
mean,
speaking of that, when they have nights like that, teams like the Miami Heat that they're facing this Friday at home, and then they fly down to Miami, and that's another thing, bro. Get this team out of Miami and the nightlife, please. Yeah, they're like, hey, what do you think the defense setup's going to be tomorrow? They're like this in the club, just hey, Kat, what did you think about in the third period and he's like, the night before, he's just, bro, if I was a basketball player, man, like, it'd be fucking party central, bro.
yeah.
You know how much you got getting thrown at you, hotel to hotel, fucking being zesty from town to town, bro? Please.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at their schedule here, and they have a lot of
They got the Heat Friday, Heat Sunday.
yeah, I mean, they're at they got the Heat again in December.
And then
I mean, they got they got the Magic in December. I mean,
they don't have an easy schedule. The Knicks, by the
No.
way, Knick fans, I want to tell you this. Your team has arrived. So they have national games now, and their schedule is going to get tougher because they need to have those premier matchups. Last night was on ESPN, Wednesday Night Basketball. When's the last time the Knicks were consistently on nationally broadcasted game? When you're followed by OKC Lakers, you've arrived, folks. And now that's another thing, Pat. The expectations of the New York Knicks. We know what happens historically with the New York Knicks franchise when they have expectations.
You're 100% correct.
Like, I don't know, man. I go by history.
Sure. I think we have to manage our expectations. You were definitely a lot more cautious at the beginning of the season than I was. I was pretty hyped on these guys. In that, perpetually hopeful kind of way. But
Yeah.
I'm the same, I get the same way with the Yankees. I always want to hope that the pieces are going to work together. And the truth is, if the pieces were working together, they'd have 2 more wins than they do right now.
Yeah,
and
listen,
it's early in the season. Like I said, I'm still hopeful on the grounds that they have the talent on this team, the individual talent. Now, are they going to be able to pull that together and work it under Mike Brown's scheme is the question. I mean, what do you think?
the one thing I think that, yes, they'll eventually get it through, and it's going to take time. I think that if they implement what Mike Brown wants to do, that they're going to get it. I think it comes down to practices. Tibbs used to give these guys off every day from practice. They used to do walkthroughs all the time. They never had physical practices, okay? Maybe occasionally they would have physical practices. They always had the day off and they do walkthroughs. So that's why the New York Knicks had more legs. And what makes me scratch my head is Tom Thibodeau ran these guys into the ground last year, and now we're having fatigue issues, and now we're looking like we're out of gas? What's that all about? And also, Pat, like, you know what? Every other show on the internet, on YouTube about the Knicks gives you the score and gives you everything else. But what we do here at New York Minute is we give you what the paper's not talking about. We're going to give you the scoop on that the New York Knicks look like a house of hot air. They look like a hot air balloon right now. The record looks good. The record at home looks good. They look like a really, really exciting team with national games. But guess what? Their star just went down. They look like they're out of shape. They look like they're reticent to learning Mike Brown's system. And before this gets a little out of hand, they better toughen up, because teams like the Pistons and the Orlando Magic just made the New York look like dog shit in MSG. And by the way, you can go over to New York Minute Sports. That's NEWYRKMIN on Instagram, and right here on YouTube. Mondays, Pudgy Boy Sports with Mike. Tuesday, Yankee Show with yours truly. Wednesday, we're going to do the watch along and live broadcast. Then Thursday, you got the New York Nut Show. We're talking Knicks and watching video clips with me and Playoff Patty. And then on Friday, I got something special for you. Little mix bag. Then we're going to separate it on Saturdays, and we got Football Sunday, wall to wall, baby. Don't forget to like, don't to tell your friends that you were listening to Eric and Playoff Patty right here on New York Minute Sports. And remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Bye.